Today's Japanese slang terms are ones that I need to preface by saying that this is going to cause me to step into some areas of discussion that are a large source of controversy and debate on the internet, not just in Japan. So I'm going to do my best to be neutral here, but please remember I'm just describing words that exist rather than giving an opinion on them. And with that said, let's learn about namono and the related terms jeeking and peeking. So namono is one of those pesky little Japanese slang terms that is just a normal word which has become a slang term because namamono means perishable items or raw food. And if you look up namamono online, even using katakana for the mono part, you can find people just talking about food. And we're not here to talk about food. Instead, we're here to talk about namamono to mean real people, ikimono, flesh and blood, specifically flesh and blood humans that people insert into stories, some of which are romantic or more controversially, erotic. Basically, this term is used in the same kind of context as terms like RPF does in English, real person fiction, which has its own set of controversies. There's a controversy section on Wikipedia. There's academic articles about this controversy. Indeed, even Teen Vogue has talked about the ethics of real person fiction. And if you look up namamono online in Japanese and find uses to refer to fiction involving real people, a lot of them discuss the controversies, such as this one here, which mistakenly claims that in the West, people are rather strict on discussions of child characters or sexual violence or even affairs, but not so much about namamono. But of course, as we saw, that's not true. I'm showing this post because it flags the idea that namamono is something that is a source of controversy in Japan. Do be careful, though, if you find tweets about this and try to translate them, though, because from my experience, the auto-translate software will always turn this into raw. And so you might see translations like this, where the idea that raw stuff is acceptable, and that may make you think that it's like raw pornography or something, and it's not. It's just real human beings, not raw. Indeed, even if the kids say you're cooked, you're probably uncooked. Anyway then, so for example, when this person says that they want to see BL about Shinzo Abe and Donald Trump, and that BL is described as namamono BL, that's not because it's raw, hard-hitting journalism, it's because both of those people are real human beings. And indeed, because this topic is one that does sort a lot of controversy around the ethics, again, of including real humans in your fiction, it has its own argets to make it even harder to find, because NMMN, namamono, is used to mean namamono, as in the post that you're looking at now, where someone deletes a tweet because it seemed like it might be namamono, or again, including fictional discussions of humans that actually exist. And while I can't tell you how long namamono itself has existed, because again, it just exists as a word, which has existed for thousands of years probably, NMMN, as far as I can tell, started around 2010. At least that's the first hits of it I can find on Twitter, but put a pin on that because it might have a much earlier origin, which we'll come back to. And we'll come back to it because we have to move into talking about peeking now. Because if you are writing namamono, especially namamono that is erotic in nature, you might not want people to see it who are not accepting of that as, okay media. And as a result, you would forbid normal people from doing that. Peeking. And keep in mind, of course, there are a bunch of Japanese slang terms that have used piipuru in Japanese, NP being normal people, words like pampi from ippan piipuru or ippi from the same word, paripi, party people. Use of pi to mean people in Japanese is quite established. But basically, namamono is especially known in Japan for being part of like the doujin scene, which if you're not familiar, doujin are just like fan-made books, especially comics about, well, anything. If you go to Comiket, for instance, there will be doujin about any topic. It's not just erotic stuff or namamono, but that is one of the things that might happen. And if you write some of that, and you want to make sure that your content isn't bought by somebody who doesn't know what they're getting into, peeking is a term that you can use. Indeed, it's an old term, as you can see in this post here, which describes both it and jeeking, which we'll talk about as natsukashi, right, nostalgic, noting that they used to sell anthologies, probably at some kind of doujin event. Indeed, peeking is pretty dead. It's kind of like an old thing for most people, as in this interaction as well, where somebody notes that they have like a password protection for some erotic content, noting how something else would be to have an explanation of why something is peeking and jeeking, and then asking people to request the password via DM. And the person below notes that they're very happy to register, but then calls the peeking explanation something that used to exist, and again links it directly to namamono, showing the connection between all these words. And as far as the timeline goes, Twitter shows the first hits for peeking happening in 2009. However, this could be over 30 years old. I found websites saying that all of these terms existed since the 1980s. There are Yahoo Chiabukuro questions about them since 2007. And I was able to find a very bizarre old 2chan thread from 2003, which was just like a bunch of words. It was a whole thread of just bunches of words, band names, all kinds of stuff, but peaking is one of those words. So there's no question that the Twitter data is not the start data for peaking, which makes me think it's also not the start date for namono. All right then, what about jeeking? Well, this is also related to the doujin kind of sales, etc., as jeeking means that Johnny's and Associates is forbidden. If you're not familiar, this is, or was, a major Japanese pop music male idol production kind of factory. It's changed its name due to controversies over the owner doing very bad things. But the important part for our discussion is that their idols were very popular, and so people would write namono fiction about them. Now, some of this would be, more or less acceptable, but if you wrote namono fiction or art involving these people and you did not want people associated with Johnny's to see this, or perhaps as a warning. Indeed, if you look up explanations of why people use peaking and jeeking, there's all kinds of things. Some people say it's for self-protection. Some people say it's for a warning. Some people have noted, as in this tweet, that there used to be people that would buy this and then sell it to Johnny's to try to get someone in trouble. There's no evidence anyone ever did, but if you had a jeeking label on it, that might mean that they just look at it and throw it away, knowing what it is and they don't want to see it. Whatever the reason, if you're writing fiction about idols from Johnny's in the past, and you did not want anyone from Johnny's to look at it, or even perhaps if you just wanted a warning to fans of Johnny's that this is not necessarily what every fan wants to look at, jeeking would be there for you. Again, it's quite old. People in 2026 that see it are very surprised to see it. And people like this are noting how it kind of reflects a different vibe, whereas in the past, there was an unspoken rule to not show things to Johnny's and Associates, to not show things to normal people, and these terms developed as part of that kind of subcultural practice or self-preservation method, however you want to define what they're doing and why they're doing it. It also, of course, could be a code word, as if you are interested in things that are peaking and jeeking, you could go up to someone and say, hey, do you have any peaking material around? Lots of possible reasons. And as we've seen, a lot of things that are peaking are also jeeking, so you see them used together, but there's actually a word to refer to both of these at the same time, which you can see in this tweet, and I believe is read as nidaikin, or the two great forbiddens, the two great taboos. And indeed, in this tweet, using them together, you can see namono put right after that, which again, they're all part of the same ecosystem. That's why they're all part of this video. And if you want to go a step farther, sandaikin is then also used sometimes to add 18 plus kin. Although this is not very common because most things that are peaking and jeeking are obviously that anyway. And honestly, I find a lot of people online using sandaikin just to refer to any three forbidden things that they don't like as kind of a playful thing, as in this person here, who calls get skinny, fatty, grow some hair, baldy, and get taller, shrimp, as the three forbidden curses. So these terms are very old. They're also embroiled in controversy. So if you know them, I'd recommend pretending you don't, but if you see them, that is what they mean. And if you found this video interesting, be sure to avoid the 3 big taboos of not liking it, not sending it to people, and not leaving a comment for engagement purposes.